Hello, BookTube. Welcome back to the History Shelf in my new location. Yes, you probably thought maybe I was never returning to BookTube, but moving a house and the size of my library was daunting, to say the least. But as you can see, I am still in a state of disarray, still trying to get these books up off the floor. That box behind me are not eggs. I haven't made a video in so long I can't even remember how to get the movement. But anyway, it's been a while, guys, and I finally got caught up on rest and everything else, and because I was just so beat, so tired every night, just doing so many different things. We'll have more of footage of different locations. Something happened last night or the day before that, which is pretty exciting for those of you who that have told me. The problem is not having too many books. It's about not having enough bookcases. Now, this was not my idea. I'm swearing on a stack of Bibles. And if Martine, my other better half, were in the room, she would corroborate that statement because this was not me. But oh man, this is my tiny little office. I have bookcases on the wall as the same side of this desk that I'm filling as well. And I'm probably going to put a bookcase in this corner right here, like a little short one beneath the light switch and such. Still trying to organize, but at least I didn't film a video with just boxes stacked up behind me, because that's what I've been doing and what I've been doing for work. But now I have some books up. I'm still shelving them and trying to curate, but anyway, we have a great development. I think I will save that news for when Martine might be able to step in and lend her voice. So how have you guys been doing? The day that I closed on my new house, World War III broke out. Apparently it did, with Russia doing what Russia does. Now, as many of you know, I am a huge student of Russian history, Soviet Union history, and was not surprised at all. Apparently, a lot of people in the press were surprised, or a lot of the chattering class were surprised by that invasion. I was not at all. It's just par for the course. So right now, it's just up to the Russian people to resist at home and, get rid of a complete and total despot and maniac in Vladimir Putin. Now, having said that, I read a lot of Russian history and current history. Sorry, I'm trying to like I said, I haven't made a video in a while. I'm out of practice. Having said that, you're going to see some new books coming across, or books that I've picked up. They're not necessarily new releases, but I'm still fascinated by the trend, the arc of Russian history, and the psychology, really, of the land, its people, its leaders, mostly. But yeah, the people as well. I find that they are just a mystery. Reading, Dostoevsky can really show you that as well. All right, but hey, that by way of introduction, because it's been 3 weeks since my last video. It's been something insane. And you know what's funny? And I'm going to share this. I've noticed when I'm not making videos, my subscriber count just climbs. And I'm like, okay, what are you guys telling me? And then when I make a video and post it, I drop. Like a handful of people, or just like bounce, and I'm like, interesting. Okay, I don't know if it's something I say, or if you just like me to be silent, and then you subscribe. Who knows? But anyway, I had a big bump in my subscriber count, and I was not active. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm doing something right, and by doing something right, that means I'm not doing anything, but I'm doing something because I like to talk about books. Now, this is crazy. I have so many boxes of books downstairs that I'm slowly trying to work my way through. But it's been hard because went back to work last week. And what day is it, you guys? I went back to work on the 1st. and just was slammed there. And then I'm also doing book reviewing, which I have a lot to finish in the next 5 days. I think I'm going to try to do a wrap up video soon of the books I've been reading. I've had to postpone a buddy read until the 15th with Bill Rutenberg at the Rutenberg Library. We're going to start the Robert E. Lee biography by Alan Gelso. So I did make sure to have that book out and ready, so I'm not desperately trying to find it. But I've been reading after the move. I had to pick up these assignments that I've been commissioned to do, and I've been reading a lot on Kindle and PDFs and also physical ARCs. But yeah, at least like to show you what I've been reading. So I think that'll be another video. So I do apologize for if some of these books are kind of mixed up. I tried to make them videos where I focus on new arrivals in the mail or new releases, since I've had my mail forwarded, and I've tried to change my address with every known place that all my magazines and journals, but also I'm trying to communicate with publicists that my address has changed. I have a feeling that some books are going to my old location. I hope I can pick them up. But anyway, I have some new arrivals. Some of them I have not found yet. They were packed up. But I do have some here that I wasn't able to film videos before we moved. They were right there next to my desk at the old location. I just wasn't able to get to them. So, oh gosh, without further ado, it's just going to be a mixture, okay? We've got history, we've got fiction, we've got theology, nonfiction. I'm just gonna kind of wrap everything up. And this might be a longer video, so please feel free to step away, pause, come back, do what you do. But it's nice to be back and to see you all. So, all right, let's do this. So, let's see. Oh, and a couple of them are books I had purchased with my History Book Club credits, so I wanted to show those to you as well. Now, this book I have seen before, and I have the ARC. I think I have the hardcover, and the folks at Other Press were so very kind to send me the new paperback version of The War of the Poor by Eric Voulard. It's a finalist for the International Booker Prize. And I'm sure you've seen this in other channels, Steve Donahue probably as well, but it's about the Protestant Reformation. Very slim volume, as you can see. I don't want this, I can't read every description on every book, but we've seen it before, but I just wanted to kind of show you The War of the Poor by Eric Voulard, who also wrote the Order of the Day, which is another book that Other Press did send me and was great. It is somewhere in my boxes, and I will find them again. So I did receive that. What are we doing next? I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, just received this. This book I have signed up to review for Shelf Awareness, and if you have not checked out Shelf Awareness, it's a free newsletter that you can get. It runs down and gives you short, relatively brief scans on, book reviews, all different categories. They give you all types of bookish news. It's a really great site, and I write for them regularly. So if you want to follow my reviews, sign up for the newsletter. You'll get your weekly emails. I'll include the link below for Shelf Awareness in case you're interested. So this book is from Algonquin, and it's coming out in May, early May. But I do enjoy some nonfiction, and following on with my love of just mysteries and detective stuff and thrillers and things like that. It's kind of true crime-ish. But this is Trailed. Let me get that up there. One Woman's Quest to Solve the Shenandoah Murders by Catherine Miles, author of Quakeland. This slim little volume. This is coming out May 3rd. So that means my review is due April 3rd. So that means I have another one to start reading at the end of this month. My reading speed has picked up. I can tell you that much. I'm a much faster reader now, and Martine can even attest to that. She has noticed that it's a skill, and it is a skill that you acquire through practice. In the beginning, it wasn't so, but now I've gotten much better at it. So let's read what this one's about. I don't have the pub sheet, but this is an ARC. Here we go. In May 1996, two skilled backcountry leaders, Lolly Winans and Julie Williams, were found murdered at the remote campsite in Virginia's Shenandoah National Park. This horrific, unsolved crime continues to baffle authorities today. Was it a random murder? A hate crime? The Shenandoah murders haunt not just the victims' friends and loved ones, but also key investigators and members of the larger wilderness community, all unable to shake the memory of the loss of this free-spirited and remarkable young couple. Gone too soon. In Trailed, award-winning journalist and outdoors expert Catherine Miles goes deeper into the story of the Shenandoah murders than anyone has before, with her intimate and compassionate reporting. With unprecedented access to crucial crime scene evidence, a clear-eyed look at forensics, and a growing sense of both mission and obsession, she begins to uncover the truth. And the truth, she reveals, is not what anyone expected. She argues that the wrong man has been under suspicion for more than 20 years, his life a shambles. And the true culprit may be right in front of authorities, if only they take a closer look. Trailed is a compelling, eye-opening, and beautiful narrative for fans of deeply reported true crime books such as Michelle McNamara's I'll Be Gone in the Dark, for readers interested in criminal justice, and for all people who look to the wilderness as a place of freedom and safety. So I definitely volunteered. I wanted to read this one, so I requested Trailed. And so that'll be coming out in May. And if you want to see my review, sign up for Shelf for Wares. Okay. What else we got next here? I know I'm missing a lot of new stuff. Okay, we're going to move into IVP Press, the InterVarsity Press, which is a press that I love for just Christian theology, history, dogmatics, church history. I'd already said that. Commentaries are great. Apologetics. Fascinating topics, but just, it's highly scholastic, highly academic, but also very readable. So, new, and I love this series of books. I recently finished one of them which kind of covered the themes of Jeremiah, the book of Jeremiah. But this is Now and Not Yet, Theology and Mission in Ezra and Nehemiah by Dean R. Ulrich. This is part of the New Studies in Biblical Theology. And they have quite a substantial backlist of books in this series already, but they're always coming out with newer titles. And I think I have another one. I thought I had it here in the stack. Actually, I think that might have again, everything is kind of misplaced right now because we have been here a week, but come on, man, this was the move of a lifetime. I don't think we're ever going to move again. It nearly broke me. But it's somewhere, and I just got it. It's a book on Paul, and so anyway, but this one is Now and Not Yet. I don't think I need to read all of this for you. Let's see. The books of Ezra and Nehemiah have, for various reasons, suffered comparative neglect in Old Testament scholarship. As Dean Ulrich demonstrates, though, these texts form a literary unit that contributes to the Bible's progressively unfolding story of God's saving activity. Ezra and Nehemiah focuses not so much on effective leadership as on how to be a godly participant in God's story. The moral teaching appears in the larger context of God's acts and promises. That's just a little bit of the description. But a great series. I can't recommend it enough. It's very approachable. And it really kind of just gets in deep down behind the different books of the Bible to give you more context. Because sometimes when you approach the Bible just cold, you're like, what the hell are they talking about? Excuse my use of that word. But you're like, you don't understand. And so these are helpful tools. There's many other types of books you can read and commentaries that help with that. But these are a great series of books that I really highly enjoy. And I just need to take a sip of something cold real quick. Thanks, guys. I try not to drink on camera, but it's been a long day. It's been a long work day, and just trying to. Every day that passed, I'm like, everyone's gonna forget about me. Everyone's gonna just think I've just given up BookTube. I could never give up, you guys. Come on. So the next book I got is something new. Well, maybe it's just a new design. Or no, it's a new series that I haven't really heard of or followed too closely. There goes my camera glitching again. Essential Studies in Biblical Theology. And we've got God Dwells Among Us, A Biblical Theology of the Temple by G.K. Beale and Mitchell Kim. It's a slim little volume here, again by IVP Press. The temple has always been a source of rich scholarship and theological reflection. But what does it mean for the church's ongoing mission in the world? In this volume, Mitchell and Kim examine temple theology throughout Scripture, exploring how this theme relates to Christian life and witness today. From Eden to the New Jerusalem, they argue, we are God's temple on the earth, the first fruits of the new creation. Now part of the ESBT series, the Essential Studies in Biblical Theology series, God Dwells Among Us bridges biblical theology and the needs of the church. God has always desired to dwell among us. Now the church must follow its missional call to extend the borders of God's kingdom and take his presence to the ends of the earth. I kind of like the cover. It's a nice design. All right. And so these were books that came before we moved, and I just, again, did not have a chance to show you guys. So, and this is another book from IVP, and then we'll move on to a different publisher. But this one's really interesting, and it has like connotations of culture, literature, and history. So this might be more of a broader appeal to many of you. So it's a part of they've been putting out a lot of different series, and I'm really enjoying this new series. So I'm curious to see what else they'll put out in this line. But it's part of the Studies in Theology and the Arts. And it's called Resisting the Marriage Plot, Faith and Female Agency in Austen, Bronte, Gaskell, and Wollstonecraft by Daleen Jo Fisher. As you can see, it's Studies in Theology and the Arts. And they have a couple of other books in this series already. Again, just kind of looking at culture, literature. They have all other books in the series are like Modern Arts and the Life of a Culture, The Faithful Artists, A Subversive Gospel, Placemaking in the Arts. So I'm curious to see what else they're going to come up with. But this one sounded really great. And so I was like, I'd like to take a look at that. So let's read what this says here. And this is a quote. I cannot suppose any situation more distressing than for a woman of sensibility with an improving mind to be bound to such a man as I have described, end quote. Mary Wollstonecraft's response to one of her early critics points to the fact that fiction has long been employed by authors to cast a vision for social change. Less acknowledged, however, has been the role of the Christian faith in such works. In this latest volume in IVP Academics Studies in Theology and the Arts series, literary scholar Daleen Jo Fisher explores the work of four beloved female novelists, Jane Austen, Anne Bronte, Elizabeth Gaskell, and Mary Wollstonecraft. Each of these authors, she argues, appealed to the Christian faith through their heroines to challenge cultural expectations regarding women, especially in terms of marriage. Although Christianity has all too often been used to oppress women, Fisher demonstrates that in the hands of these novelists and through the actions of their characters, it could also be a transformative force to liberate women. So I thought that would be fantastic to read that. I like the cover too. So, all right. So those are some 3 new arrivals from IVP. Thank you very much. Good folks at IVP Press. And I think I'll have more coming too. I want to shout out to Krista for that. We're going to do a little mixture. Normally I kind of save my Casemate books for a Casemate haul. I will be having a haul because remember, I never got around to making part 2 of my Casemate haul. Or did I? Maybe I did. I can't remember anymore. That move just killed me. But I do know that I have a big batch coming that were on hold because I didn't want to lose them between the changing of addresses. So Daniel at Casemate, my good friend there, He said, I'm hanging on to these and I'll send them to you once you're at your new place. So hopefully I'll be seeing signs of them soon and I will bring them straight away to you. But for right now, I've got a couple that I can show you. So we're going to move now from theology. We're all over the map, right? Christian theology and stuff to memoir and military memoir. And this is Alpha 116, A Combat Infantryman's Year in Vietnam by Peter Clark. And these are all new, and this is new release. And at least new in paperback. I'm not sure if it came out in hardcover first. I didn't see it in hardcover. This was a reprint. Yeah. All right. As America's war in Vietnam escalated in 1966, 9 U.S. Army infantry divisions and 5 separate brigades were deployed in that small country, along with Marines, Air Force units, and supporting troops. Thousands of replacements streamed across the Pacific to fill the gaps left by casualties and rotations in these units, and Peter Clark, age 20, was one of them. His orders sent him to the 1st Infantry Division, the famed Big Red One in Long Binh, and from there to Alpha Company, 1st Battalion, 16th Infantry Regiment, also known as Alpha 116. For the rest of his tour, Alpha 116 was Clark's home as he learned the techniques of combat and survival and experienced the awful reality of fighting a guerrilla war in the midst of hapless civilians among whom the enemy swum like fish in the sea. Clark is at first unprepared for the demands of combat and has to cope with the unrelenting emotional and physical demands of jungle warfare. As his tour progresses, he experiences the loss of comrades, the wrenching shame of civilian casualties, and the mortal terror of close combat with a brave and skillful enemy. The climatic conclusion of this account finds Clark and Alpha 116 locked in battle with North Vietnamese regulars near the Cambodia border. Faced with almost certain annihilation, artillery is called down on Alpha 116's lines as the enemy overruns the U.S. positions. Clark's account is a moving and perceptive narrative of a journey which was shared by many of his generation, as well as by soldiers in past and future wars. And there's our author right there. Alpha 116. I love memoirs, and I've recently, in the last few years, gotten into Vietnam soldier memoirs, and so this will be a welcome addition to my collection. And then the other one, I know I didn't request it, but it's a very handsome book. And for those who are more interested in insignia and markings and things like that, this might be right up your alley. And if it is, please let me know. Contact me in the in the comments, and I'll let me know if you're interested. So this is an illustrated special edition. I think there's several in this line. They're very just beautifully like coffee table type of books with pictures and photographs and maps and everything. But this is Casemate Illustrated Specials, Luftwaffe Victory Markings, 1939 to 1945 by Philippe Saints. It's a naked hardcover there. This one is just all about the different markings that the Luftwaffe put on their aircraft. From the very beginnings of air combat, airmen sought to embellish their aircraft with distinctive liveries and decorations. During World War II, standard camouflage schemes were rigorously and officially imposed, and as a result, colorful and conspicuous finishes were forbidden. Successful pilots still sought to personalize their aircraft, but in slightly more circumspect fashion. And the Luftwaffe, in addition to the emblems adopted by Staffeln, Gruppen, and Geschwader, usually displayed on the cowlings of their aircraft, fighter pilots in many instances had humorous drawings or cartoons painted under the cockpits and also had their victory scores painted on their aircraft. During the early war years, so-called victory bars were displayed on the vertical tail fin. Some aces returned such large numbers of victories that their scores had to be moved from the tailplane to the rudder. Some logged their successes by adding a date, others by adding roundels specifying the nationality of their victims, perhaps also indicating the locations their victims came down. The pilots' ground crews also sought to outdo each other by marking their aircraft with the permission of the pilot in distinctive ways. For example, by adding representations of the various awards awarded to the aces. Decorations also appeared on occasion on aircraft rudders, as well as the numbers of victories returned for such awards. Each of these victory scoreboards tells a story, and each is unique. And that's what this book explores. Fascinating. So this series, Casemate Illustrated Specials, offer unparalleled detail into the weapons, equipment, and machinery of war. Yeah, so lots of pictures and such. Let's show you some photos here. Oh gosh, look at the dachshunds. Oh, jeez. By the way, Daisy is turning into a dachshund. We're pretty convinced, even though her DNA test said 11%, 45% Chihuahua, 20% Pomeranian. We don't see it. 11% dachshund, and then a smattering of some other breeds. I'm like Maltese and poodle. I'm like, what? How does this happen, right? So, yeah. Anyway. So she's got a little German in her, I guess. But anyway, so that's, for the aircraft aficionado, the specialist, it's a pretty neat book. And it's just exploding with, no pun intended, exploding with just beautiful graphics, photographs, artwork, and such. If this is appealing to you, let me know. I would like to see if anyone would like to maybe take a look at it and review it and send me a little phone clip. And I'd like to thank my first submission. I haven't had a chance to email you back, Jackie. She does not have a BookTube channel, but I know she's very active, and she's done book reads with Summer at Cozy Reading with Quaker Cats. But Jackie D, right? I'm not gonna say her last name, but I sent her an arc or 2 or 5. She said she loved to have them, so I sent them to her, and sorry, I am beat up. I know it looks like I've been, Martine has not laid a hand on me, I promise. It's probably boxes and puppies. She sent me her review of George V, that new biography by Jane Ridley, which I had reviewed for, who did I review it for? Shelf Awareness. So we both have read it, and she uploaded a little clip of her review. And so once I can get my act together here, I'm going to start doing that, because I told you in a previous video, I'd love to see if anyone out there who maybe is not interested in having a full channel, but would like to have a book to cover, just to get your feet wet or something. I'll send you a book. You send me a quick little MP4 on your phone or your computer, however you want to record it. Tell me your thoughts, and then I'm going to do a video compilation of sorts. I haven't figured out how yet to, insert it, but I just want this to be a really interactive channel and to have more than just me talking all the time. So anyway, I'm letting you know if there's a military geek out there like me that might want to take a look and give me a book review on that. I'm down for it. But I can tell you right now, there's not a lot of text, so I mean, it's a very specialized type of book. But the pictures tell the story far more than all of the charts and stuff. I mean, that might be a little bit too detailed, but anyway, thank you, Casemate, for that. Oh, and then I got another book from Other Press. They just sent it to me of their own volition, so thank you very much. This is quite different for me. This is Policing the City, an ethnographic. So I don't think I've ever heard that in terms of a book, an ethnographic. But obviously I can guess what this is about. And this is by Didier Fassin, Frederick de Baume, and Jake Raynal. I'm sorry for mispronouncing any names. And this is translated by Rachel Gaume. Okay, so very hardcover, naked dust jacket, and it's just I've got a pub sheet here, so I can read it to you. All right. Let's see. Sometimes it's hard to find the actual description in here. All right. There's a lot of blurbs for this, and then I'll give you an inside peek. Okay. In Policing the City, anthropologist and sociologist Didier Fassin relays crucial insights from the 15 months he spent shadowing officers of an anti-crime squad, overseeing low-income neighborhoods outside Paris. Originally published as the landmark study Enforcing Order, an ethnography of urban policing, Policing the City expertly distills hundreds of pages of insightful reporting into a vibrant and profoundly affecting graphic novel. Through this compact powerhouse of a book, Fassin offers both as an incisive critique of those structures which uphold a culture of police violence in France, conditions which we also find at the heart of American policing, and a powerful call to arms for their restructuring. That's just part of the description, but I kind of wanted to keep things moving. Okay, very much, a graphic novel in hardcover. But that's kind of neat. I'll take a look. We'll see what happens here. I am not. Thank you. I'll read it with an open mind, but my open mind always says is there's, I'm not, I don't hate the police. I don't care for people who abuse their power. I think they're wrong and they need to be punished. But at the same time, I mean, it's a reality that I haven't lived. So I'm open to hearing definitely what someone else's experience is or was. So, but Policing the City, an ethnographic by Other Press. So a wide variety of things. And this one came very recently. I'm very excited because I do love fiction, or I do love my mysteries. And this is from Berkeley Books. So thank you to Berkeley Books. This is brand new. This is the Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. And I have her The Sundown Motel as well. I think I got that a couple of years ago. But decent, good stuff. And this sounds like this one's going to be really good. A true crime blogger gets more than she bargained for while interviewing the woman acquitted of 2 cold case slayings in this chilling new novel from the New York Times bestselling author of The Sundown Motel. I don't think I'm going to read all of this, but it says here, in 1977, Claire Lake, Oregon, was shaken by the Lady Killer murders. 2 men, seemingly randomly, were murdered with the same gun, with strange notes left behind. Beth Greer was the perfect suspect, a rich, eccentric 23-year-old woman seen fleeing one of the crime scenes, but she was acquitted, and she retreated to the isolation of her mansion. Oregon, 2017. Shay Collins is a receptionist, but by night she runs a true crime website, the Book of Cold Cases. Passion fueled by the attempted abduction she escaped as a child. When she meets Beth by chance, Shay asks her for an interview. To Shay's surprise, Beth says yes. They meet regularly at Beth's mansion, though Shay's never comfortable there. Items move when she's not looking, and she could swear she's seen a girl outside the window. The allure of learning the truth about the case from the smart, charming Beth is too much to resist, but even as they grow closer, Shay senses something isn't right. It never is. Is she making friends with a manipulative murderer? Or are there other dangers lurking in the darkness of the Greer house? Yeah. This would be a great book to read if I didn't have... Well, I've got a couple of other things to finish up in the next few days. We've got a little winter storm moving in. Right now it's sunny and nice. I ran all my errands. Tomorrow it's going to be like Wednesday and Thursday, bitterly cold, and we got a little bit of snow moving in again. So, but that sounds like some cozy reading, doesn't it? The Book of Cold Cases. So, love it. All right, we're at 34 minutes. I'm going to press on now. These are way overdue for me to show and to talk about. Let me just pick them up off the floor here real quick. So the good folks at Bloomsbury Publishing, and they also work with Osprey. And Osprey Publishing is a military history publisher, or all things military publishing. And Bloomsbury also works with, distribution and just covering, coverage of these books. And I wanted to cover these books that I received. Make sure I don't hit a button to pause this inadvertently. Got a nice big tome of a book that I'm so excited to get into because I love reading about Afghanistan and Iraq and recent events there and our wars there. I'm just always been fascinated. So, current history or recent current history is very, one of my loves. And this is a revised and updated version of this book. So, and it's a chunkster, but it is Blood, Metal, and Dust. How Victory Turned into Defeat in Afghanistan and Iraq. Revised and updated by Ben Barry. Again, it's put out by Osprey. Nice big book here. So revised and updated. Let's take a look here. Don't have the dust or don't have any dust jacket blurbage here. I read a little bit from the preface to the first edition. I mean, it's pages to this preface. You'll get the feel for it. Well, I could read a blurb, I guess. It's been blurbed by Hugh Strachan, who's a prominent historian of World War I. He said it's a clear, dispassionate, and succinct military history of the post-9/11 wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Ben Barry is forthright in his criticisms and depressingly correct in his conclusions. Blood, Metal, and Dust is essential reading. Let me read to you just the first little paragraph from the preface to the first edition. Actually, maybe I should read the preface to the second edition. Ooh. I don't want any spoilers because it says in the preface to the second edition, the text of the first edition was finalized in early autumn 2020. At the time, it gave me no pleasure to assess that once the U.S. and NATO withdrew from combat operations in Afghanistan, the Taliban was able to reestablish a significant footprint and regain considerable military initiative over Afghan government forces. From a position of weakness, the U.S. negotiated a ceasefire deal with the Taliban, with no guarantees that the Taliban would stick to their side of the agreement, nor that the elected Kabul government's interests would be protected. As a result, the 2001 defeat of the Taliban has been almost completely reversed by the insurgents. Yay. At this moment, no one has won the war in Afghanistan, but an emboldened Taliban could well overwhelm the current Afghan government and its forces, imposing a victor's peace that would give it the ability to reverse much of the last 2 decades of socio-political development. Now, that's what he had said in the text of the first edition. So then now he says that my prediction was accurate gives me even less pleasure. Despite soothing statements by various Western politicians, there should be no doubt that the Taliban won the war, defeating the Afghan government, the U.S., and its allies. Their victory gave comfort to many of the adversaries of the U.S. and its allies. Al-Qaeda and other jihadists, Russia, China, and those who funded and supported the Taliban, including in Pakistan and the Gulf. I was going to say no shit. Well, I mean, it's true. We've been in a weak position for a while, and now we've got people who are, testing the waters in big ways, and now it's up to how are we going to react. It's a fluid situation, my friends. Every day we get a little bit closer to things getting really, really bad, I think, with Russia. So, with that situation and what we're going to do. Well, the last I heard today was that we have banned Russian oil. And we've been, sending weaponry to Ukraine, but I think something more is going to have to happen. Because, if his advance doesn't stall on its own, or if he's not overthrown, he's going to keep going. And if you don't think that that's the case, then you don't know history, and you don't know the Russian Soviet communist mind. He Vladimir Putin, once a KGB officer, always a KGB officer. You don't change from that. I mean, just read about Putin's upbringing, and he was crushed when the Soviet Union fell apart. That was a catastrophe for him. Keep these things in mind and study it. But anyway, yes, this is going to be fantastic. Pretty comprehensive. And I liked having the revised and updated version to reflect what has happened recently. And I believe the deal with the Taliban was done by a Republican president. Don't ask me why Trump did that. I don't know. Do we know any reason why Trump would do anything? But anyway. But yeah, I mean, that was just, it just gave comfort to our enemies. So a great read from Osprey. Okay, so some of the other books that I got from Bloomsbury and Osprey kind of add to my collection of their slim volumes. You know, I've shown these before on my channel. One-stop shop reading gives you a nice big overview of a certain topic, a certain campaign, a certain type of warrior class. It takes it and kind of, you know, takes an overview, zooms in at certain levels and comes back up. But it's a nice little introduction. And I love this series. This is one of my favorite series from Osprey. It's the Combat series, and it pits two opposing sides, two different types of warriors or soldiers or, you know, whatever, against each other and compares them, you know, tit for tat. And it's the Combat series. And this is a brand new one. This is Korea 1950, and this is the U.S. Marine versus North Korean Soldier by Bob Kashner. So it's full of that. You know, I love the artwork. The original artwork is just so fun. They're about 80 pages. So again, I've shown these to you before. Always, you know, nice maps. They look at the equipment of the opposing sides of each soldier, their organization, strategy, their weapons. Here's the Rifleman 5th Marine Regiment. It goes into, like, you know, a kind of cross section, not a cross section, but, you know, it goes in and kind of highlights each particular detail of the soldier and his accoutrement. And then great little inserts like full. I love it. I don't know why. I still don't understand why I like these so much, but I do. I do, you guys. Okay, so this is U.S. Marine versus North Korean Soldier. Brand new release. And then this one's really great. This takes back to the American Revolution. We've got Combat, Patriot versus Loyalist by Cy Shepard. Cy Shepard's name is everywhere on Osprey books. I've got many titles by Cy Shepard. He is fantastic at distilling into, you know, digestible, just, you know, it's hard work to take a big event like this and distill it. You know, just wonderful, and, you know, artifacts. And they're great. Maps, detailed. They give you, you know, analysis. They give you a summary. Can't beat it. So these are the two of the latest ones. I should have more coming in this series, so I'm happy to share them with you. We're at 43 minutes. Hold, please. The next series from Osprey is the Campaign series, which is my next favorite series, and it's covers, again, a type of war campaign. Any war across the world, anywhere, and they just go into as much detail as they can for this little book. But again, it's a good overview. This is Syria and Lebanon, 1941. Sorry for the glare. The Allied fight against the Vichy French. And this is by David Sutton. Illustrated by Graham Turner. Didn't say on here who was the artist there, but great. Look at that. Oh my God. This is good stuff here. Let's see, in June 1941, Australian, British, Indian, and Free French forces invaded the Vichy French-controlled Mandate of Syria and Lebanon. Facing an enemy that had more artillery, tanks, and okay, hang on. Facing an enemy that had more artillery, tanks, and aircraft. They fought in rocky, mountainous terrain, through barren valleys and across swollen rivers, and soon after the initial advance, encountered a powerful Vichy French counterattack on key strategic positions. Despite these difficulties, the Allies prevailed, and in doing so ensured that the territory did not fall into German or pro-German hands, and thus provide a springboard from which Axis forces could attack British oil interests in Iraq, the key territory of Palestine or the Suez Canal. This book examines the high military and political strategy that lay behind the operations, as well as the experiences and hardships endured by the men on the ground. The battles in Syria and Lebanon were complex actions, often at the battalion level or below, and this work uses extensive war diaries and available records to make sense of the actions and examine how they affected the wider campaign. Okay, campaign number 373. Focus. It doesn't matter. Sorry. All right, let me get that out the way. And then these are two, this is a fairly new series, the Air Campaign series. And I've gotten a few so far, so they're actually kind of neat. This is Air Campaign number 25. Desert Storm, 1991, the most shattering air campaign in history by Richard P. Hallion, illustrated by Adam Tooby. So these all have the silver kind of bar and spine on there. And the Air Campaign series, just like you read there, says how history's greatest air wars were planned and fought and why they were won and lost. So this, I'm not going to read the description here, but you get the feeling for it. This is about 95 pages, replete, talking about the Desert Storm 91 and the Air Campaign. Very, very intricate and detailed maps. I mean, that's fantastic. Evocative, and just look at this artwork. Wow. He even got the blur effect in here. Wow. It's so neat. I just love how they did that. Okay. And yeah, there's other titles in the series, and I have a few of them. I think I have, maybe Operation Linebacker. But this is Desert Storm 1991. And then taking it back to World War II, you can't go wrong with the Big Week, baby. It's Big Week, 1944. Operation Argument and the breaking of the Jagdwaff. I'm going to be honest, I've never heard of Jagdwaff. I've heard of the Luftwaffe, so I'll be interested to know what the Jagdwaff is. It's by Douglas C. Dildy. Again, by Graham Turner. What a great artist. So as you know, this book explains how in February 1944, the Allies conceived and fought history's first ever successful offensive counter-air campaign. Operation Argument, or Big Week, attacked German aircraft factories with hundreds of heavy bombers escorted by the new long-range P-51 Mustang. It would both destroy vital aircraft production facilities and force the Luftwaffe into combat, allowing the new Mustangs to take their toll on the German interceptors. So this expert illustration-packed account of Operation Argument explains how the Allies finally began to win air superiority over Europe, and how the campaign marked the beginning of the Luftwaffe's fall. So a brand new entry into the Air Campaign series, number 27. So I'm very excited about that. And then the last one here I got is, this is part of their Fortress series. I don't have many of the Fortress ones, but you know me in the Russian history. I love it, and I have to know more about it. And this looks great. This is Fortress 113, the number in the series. And this is the Moscow Kremlin, Russia's fortified heart, by Mark Galeotti, illustrated by Donato Spadaleri. So, Moscow Kremlin, a fortified complex covering 70 acres at the heart of Moscow. The Kremlin story is the story of Russia. Its origins lie in an 11th century wooden guard tower, and it has been built, burnt, besieged, and rebuilt through to the current stone and brick complex, which houses everything from Russia's seat of political power to glittering churches. This superbly illustrated book follows the Kremlin's tumultuous history through rises and falls to the present day. It rose to prominence as a symbol of the rising principality, first of Muscovy and then of the Romanov imperial state. until superseded by its new-built rival St. Petersburg in the 18th century. The revolutionary Soviet regime again made it the center of the state, a role it still plays in Vladimir Putin's new Russia. It has been razed by Mongols, mined by Napoleon, and battered by Nazi bombers, and through to the 21st century, the Kremlin is still at the heart of the Russian security state. Kind of, touchy subject right now. But, this takes it back way deep into history, obviously. Full color photographs and, artwork, present day. It even has the map. Very cool. Photographs. It's pretty neat stuff. And this is a great addition to my Russian library. All right. And actually, I forgot there's one more from Osprey. And we're going to end on something I know is my favorite, and it's the Civil War, American Civil War, baby. And it's just a neat little book. It's just like a neat little, what do you call these type of books? It's just so interesting. It's got little French flaps, but it says U.S. Civil War, Battle by Battle by Ian McGregor. It says here, the U.S. Civil War was the most cataclysmic military struggle of the late 19th century. In 4 bloody years of fighting from 1861 to 1865, more than 620,000 American soldiers and sailors. But they have since upped that estimate. Is now about 750,000. They're thinking it's more about 750,000. Lost their lives in more than 8,000 battles, engagements, and skirmishes, from famous clashes such as the battles of Gettysburg and Fredericksburg, through to the less well-known, such as the battles of Brandy Station and Cedar Creek. Illustrated throughout, U.S. Civil War, Battle by Battle, tells the story of 30 significant engagements, covering every theater of the war and detailing infantry, cavalry, artillery, and seaborne units from both the Union and Confederate forces to give a true sense of the scale of the war that tore the country apart. So it's definitely a book for maybe people that aren't really familiar with the Civil War, but I'm an aficionado, and so I always want to review these things. It's kind of neat. Very brief text and stuff, but very neat. So there you have it, you guys. These are some of the books that I meant to film before we packed up and moved, but I wasn't able to, so I'm trying to do some catch-up. Let me know what you think. It was a wide variety, but I hope you enjoyed it. I will make another video as soon as I can. And I know that I've got more new arrivals, and I'm trying to locate that box. Because I want to show you guys. And in the meantime, BookTube, I hope you are happy to see me back. And I'm about as happy as I am to see you, and I'm very happy. So have a great one out there, guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.